Me. Sorry about that. I just needed to insert myself into the matrix. So, how is everybody? Yes, the light of the sun is behind me. There we go. Got 74 people hanging out. Probably gonna do maybe about an hour today at the most. So apparently, there's been some very interesting things going on here in Robert's backyard. I guess this insect has decided to crack open its shell and begin life anew as a new version of itself, right? They're all over right now. What is this, cicada or something? I don't know what these bugs are. We got any bug people out there? Cicada, yeah. So they've decided that they wanted to break free. They're all over the place. I have this little bamboo fencing. There was about 5 of them, and there were a couple over here. So if I did a hunt, I'm sure I'd be able to find them. So maybe this is the metaphor for our time, right here, cicada time. Right there it is. Oops. Pretty interesting. Anyway, there you go. Maybe that's our metaphor. Cicada lives matter. You damn straight, Zero Dragon. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Let me just check in with you guys. Thank you for the brief delay, both in terms of the time. There's Robin. Robin, I'm reaching back to you today. I promise. Robert will new moon in 3 hours and 2 minutes. Yeah, we like that new moon. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, we get this website launched today. JMP Live. That's on me, by the way. Hey, Robert, I emailed for some readings, paid through PayPal. No, hang in there, Danzy. I'm just backlogged. Thank you for chiming in. Today's a big email day. Thanks for your patience. Excellent show tonight. Thank you. There's Sherry. Sherry, I sent you an email, and I think you emailed me back. And Sherry, I can work with you today. Hoarse voice and all. I get there, folks. I get there. Fup77, good morning. Susie Escobar, good morning. There's the birthday girl coming up here, Miss Kathy Steen. Not quite yet, but getting close. Emerald V, good morning. Diana Young, good morrow. How about good marrow? We could all use a little good marrow, can't we? Lisa Marie, same to you. Good morning. Getting back to you. Laura D, what's happening? The wench for the wrench. Miss Ani Brito in the house. Yes, there's Justice Moody. What's up? At least I'm here. I'm here now. There we go. Let's see who else we got here. Cheeky. What's going on, Scoobs? I hope things are sorting themselves out. For you, there's the lovely Renee. Good morning, Renee. Judy Anderson is just giving up. Don't ever give up on me, Judy. Hey, there's my man, Ra. What's happening? What's going on, brother? I got to put you up there. I got to put my man Rob, exploring the car with Rob, host Rock. Rob, we got to catch up, man. I know we do a lot of communicating on Facebook, or we have been, but I haven't been on Facebook very much. Big shout out to my man Raw. Anna Erickson, good morning. Haven. There's Daniel McIntyre. What's going on, DM? I just did a live video as well. See, there's a reason why I was delayed, because I knew Raw somehow was doing the live video, and I didn't want him to crush me. So I respected Raw's space. That's what I did. Okay, what else we got here? Let's see, the introspective woodworker. What's going on? Yeah, I got to catch up because you guys are now into real time. You got my image. I'm streaming. What's going on, Jack Kairos? Good to see you. All right. Jesus Christ. We called them katydids. Isn't a katydid like a grasshopper kind of a deal? David chimes in, anthropy. Actually, that's a metaphor for our times. There it is right there, man. We're breaking out of the old carapace, the old shell, right? This is what's happening right now. This is what's happening right now. Right there. Okay, here we go. Dear blessed and holy Father, Mother God, uh, dear blessed and holy Father God, the great central Sun, which is the universe light, which is life, Yeshua, Sananda Emmanuel. We ask that only the highest and best information, only the best wisdom and truth can come through this channel at this time. We also ask that the qualities of love and courage and faith and humor, flexibility, endurance, discernment, divine wisdom, higher will, compassion, empathy, flexibility, all be with us in this stream and throughout the rest of the day. We also ask that any karmic residue be cleansed, purified, transmuted, and removed from any connection herein, so that we may return to our sovereign spaces as sovereign beings. Once again, after this transmission is over, we thank you and we give thanks. So be it. All right, here we go. So epic marathon, almost 2 hour show, about 3 hour show, about 2 hours, 40 minutes. You can hear that I have Mr. Toad in my voice this morning. So it's a lot of croaky croak. So there are things about last night's show that I really wasn't able to finish. Okay, wasn't able to finish up. So let me just post a comment here, and that way I can snag. Good to see you, Rod. Let's catch up. Saki and I were talking about you the other night, always in good terms, by the way. Right. There we go. Yeah, I try. I'll be earlier next Sunday. I apologize, and I may even get out even earlier because of the light situation. Although I do like the whole light to dark thing. It's kind of cool, actually. But maybe more light, less dark. There's a whole different vibe with the dark, right? So if you watched last night's show, I got into the city of Portland. And I looked at Portland's chart, which is really interesting, right? So this is why when you decide you want to relocate, it's really good to look at the chart of a city. It's really good. You want to know what you're getting involved with that city, right? So you can look at Portland's chart. You basically say, batshit crazy, right? You can say that by looking at the chart. We went down that rabbit hole last night. So one of the things that I talked about, I'm going to get to this story. Do you remember last night when I was talking about the feminine energy, right, in Portland with the moon and the south node and the high strange with that, with Venus in the chart? I think it was with the in conjunct. So I really got into that kind of radical, almost too much in some ways, too much of the kind of which one activated, like super activated feminine energy, but it's coming from that Gemini space, which, by the way, as an air sign, it can be very, very cool, very detached, right? And sometimes crazy. I'm gonna get a little crazy today. Today is going to be a good day for crazy, and I'm talking the crazy of the fair sex, both positively, because there's a good crazy, and then there's a not so good crazy. Right. All right. So let's take a little trip back in time. This is some of the stuff that I wanted to show about Portland, but did not kind of get around to it. This is kind of a wrap up in some ways of last night's show. So Portland was dubbed Little Beirut by George W. Bush. And let's just say there was a time when Portlanders were on the right side of things, okay? It's interesting how this energy can get steered, right? Because it could be one thing in a particular way or particular sort of manifestation. It's just there, right? It's there. We were talking about this idea of the egregore with Craig Simpson over on Radiant Creators, that the egregore is like this collective mind form that sort of descends upon countries or cities or states or people, right? So that's one version of it. But the energy itself is energy. And when I was talking, when Trump was running, you could feel the energy. Like the energy was there. And I'm like, just jump on the energy bandwagon. I don't know if you can trust the guy. I mean, clearly I've looked at his chart. I've seen some of the stuff he's done in the past. I'm like, that dude is not trustworthy. Anybody, could be anybody, even his closest associates and even companions, and even his own kids. Like I know that he pits Don Jr. and Ivanka against one another, which is kind of a model he inherited from his dad, unfortunately. So he's not entirely trustworthy, and that can be a good thing. That can be a bad thing, right? So, but what I was saying during that time is, look, this energy is something. You got to get into the energy and take the energy and run with it. And you know, you know where I stand with Q. Again, I think Q is a very interesting incubator, has been an interesting incubator, but there's also a sense of like, don't worry, where we go, when we go out, that stuff is, it is what it is, right? But there is a passivity that's wired into Q. Trust Sessions. Jeff fucking Sessions couldn't even win re-election in his home state. Okay, he lost to a pretty incompetent college football coach by the name of Tommy Tuberville. So we're supposed to trust Sessions, and the guy can't even win re-election in some state. See, this was some. Now, that's not to say that there aren't some things with Q that actually happen, and there aren't some things that are dropped and seem to correlate. But for me, the piece that I always recoiled against Q was the passivity. Get your popcorn. Get your popcorn. And I would watch these serial brain videos every now and then, which were very slick, by the way, super slick. And I just have to say, when you see a lot of slick production on a video, you just better look at that video with a very clear set of eyes. Okay. Very clear set of eyes. Now, what will probably happen is they'll start to do these down and dirty videos and they'll do the same thing. They'll just realize, hey, it's a little too slick. We got to back off the production values. Just back off the production values. Let's insert some of the same messages. So anyway, I'd watch the serial brains. So slick, man. It's like, okay, who does this? Where do they get their money from? Right? How do they break it all down? Blah, 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 blah. But it was always get your popcorn, sit back, watch the show, watch the movie. So anyway, Q is interesting as an incubator. This goes back to this idea of energy, right? The energy. So the energy's there, and what happens? They corral it and they contain it. Okay. They corral and contain it. And this energy seems to be agnostic in a lot of ways. Unless, of course, it's supercharged with thought forms and rituals, and then it becomes something else, right? So I'm going to take you into Portland's past, and I'm going to give you some ideas, some examples around Portland's history, especially as it relates to ideas around social justice and political kinds of actions, which are very much a part of that city. Okay, you'll see it. So these are the most 21 memorable protests in Portland history. And Little Beirut, it was dubbed Little Beirut by George Herbert Walker Bush. They're on the right side of the protest that time, weren't they? So this is a 1991 anti-war demonstration. That's at Portland State. Now, the only demonstration I ever went to in my entire life was at the same time at the Capitol building in Olympia. And that was a really trippy time. I haven't talked about this very much, but that coincides with this time when my brain was just exploding, totally exploding. And that's when my super, super, super red pill moment was happening. it was a big red pill moment, man. It was just like everything was just coming on. Everything was just getting switched on. That's when somehow Bill Cooper went to Evergreen College about 3 months into that massive explosion that happened in my mind and in my consciousness. And it was on the other side of a divorce. And I'll never forget This is a time when I was just kind of, driving around the Pacific Northwest. I talked a little bit about that last night, and I wound up in Olympia. And I went to this, they had a little new age bookstore in town. And I went there, and there's this woman who was doing a tarot card reading. I didn't have a lot of money, so I think I just got like one card or something like that. And she just extrapolated on the one card. The one card that she got was judgment, that I was being released from something so that something new could come into my life. And that was at the end of a divorce, by the way. So I'd gone through my Saturn return, end of this divorce. And it's like, wow, okay, I really understand. And I knew about judgment. Don't get me wrong, right? Because that was part of my craft and my trade. But when somebody else shares it with you, right, it's like, oh, okay, I get. Which is really, I try not to do tarot card readings for myself, or I apply astrology to myself, but tarot card readings for yourself, there's always this weird kind of like Heisenbergian thing that goes along with it. Although sometimes it can be very revealing under certain circumstances. I'll just say that. Anyway, so once I knew that judgment thing was happening, it was like, what's new? What's now? What's happening? And it all just began to explode in a very, very good way. And I've told this dream before, but I had a series of dreams in Olympia, actually a little town called Scott Lake, just outside of Olympia. And I had this dream where I encountered my dead body, and I didn't know what to do with it. Right, I did not know what to do with it. I couldn't figure it out. So I picked up my dead body, and I put it in a dumpster because I didn't know what to do with it. And then I encountered another dead body, and it was the Pope, and I didn't know what to do with his body either. So I picked his body up, and I took his body to a nunnery, an abbey. So I took the Pope, and I remember walking across this bridge with the Pope's body in my arms, and I dropped him off with these nuns. And it was, again, one of those dreams is like, what is going on here, right? This is a very kind of wild and intense dream. So, and I've told this story before. Some of you have followed my stuff. Some of you are new. You get to hear it again, or you get to hear it for the first time. So one of the things that happened was I had a credit card, and because of my being transient during this kind of summer period of 1990, I could not pay on the credit card, and I wanted to be in good standing, use a credit card, and all that shit, right? So the morning after that dream, I get onto the phone number for, I think it was a Visa card, and I get on to the Visa card people, and I call them, and they look at my account, and they match me up, and they say, "Is this Robert Morris?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, our account shows that you are deceased, and your account has been terminated." And I'm like, what the fuck? And they even did like an address matchup, like they matched me with places that I lived, and I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy. I mean, I have this dream that my body, I'm taking my body to the dumpster, and then I wake up the next day. I call Visa, and yeah, you're right. The dream is right. You're dead. And then, by the way, if you want to get your credit card reinstated, you've got to send us a letter and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, right. I'll do that pronto. So it was a very interesting kind of moment in time. And this is where we have the energy of the aeon, or judgment, which is where we are right now culturally, right? The year 2020, judgment times 2. So all those things are happening to us now. So after that, I got pushed into heavy red pill. It was just starting to happen like crazy. Downloads, connections. And I remember like going into the whole Freemasonic world, looking at Freemasonry, Rosicrucians. And Evergreen College has a great library, and there's another library, if I'm not mistaken, it's either in the Capitol building or close to a fantastic library. So I remember going through like the microfiche. I'm gonna get back here on the microfiche and looking at books, and books that I thought might have some resonance. And then I found a book that was written by somebody that has the same name, had the same name as me, but it was written many years ago, and it was about Rosicrucianism, and it had to do with Hiram Abiff and this guy traveling through like the Fertile Crescent, that area, and basically having this Hiram Abiff pilgrimage. And it was like, this is really odd. Like, this is my name. And like I said last night on the show, that when I wound up in Portland, I wound up in a street that had my name on it, right? To check out all this stuff was happening around my name that time. It's very odd. And so this is how things were happening. It was just like kind of mind blowing stuff, right? So when the announcement that we're going to go to war with Iraq took place, and that was it was on Martin Luther King's birthday, Martin Luther King Day, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to go down to the Capitol building, and I'm going to be a part of this thing because I feel very strongly that we should not be there, because I was already hip to the New World Order stuff and all that shit. But by that time, I had a very fast education at that level. So I go down to the Capitol building, and massive amounts of people. And I have pictures of this somewhere, and some of them are quite striking in a lot of ways. And I was observing for the most part. And there were teachers from Evergreen College who were there, and they were kind of leading these protests, right? The old lefties, because lefties used to be anti-war. That was their thing. So eventually what happened is that we took over the state capitol. And that's what we did. I'll never forget this moment. The state capitol was emptied out. We walked in, and we were in the chambers of the state legislators. They were all gone. And there must have been about 500 or 600 of us in there. It was really quite something. It was kind of amazing, actually. And I think I stood up and gave some kind of shouted out to the crowd and, did some weird speech or something. I was not a lefty, by the way. So then that ended. It was very unusual. It was almost like I was kind of reenacting something from another time, right? It was all very kind of archetypal. And then we went into the center of the rotunda. And so the rotunda, of course, has a number of levels. And there were people who were up at the top of the rotunda, and they were throwing out like all these cards that had information on something, whatever that something was, the schedule for the upcoming legislature or whatever. So it would be throwing these cards all the way down to the rotunda. And that was like their kind of anarchic moment. And then there were people down at the bottom of the rotunda who were picking these cards up and collating them and sorting them out so they could take them back up again. Not because they wanted to reload it, but because in their very unique way, they wanted to have like a semblance of order. It was like, okay, well, these people up here are creating chaos, and down here we're restoring order. It was really mind-blowing because there was this interesting sort of symbiosis and mindfulness going on. Like, wow, this is really interesting, So then, crowds are gathering, and I started talking. And I forget what I said. I'm not even sure how meaningful it was, but I started talking, and all of a sudden, this young woman, comes up to me and sort of pulls my shirt, and she says, "Could you say something about education, about how people need to be educated about things?" So I'm like, okay, what do I want to do this moment? And I said, hey, listen. I want you guys to just, give this young woman a moment, because she wants to talk to you about the importance of educating yourself, on issues. And then they were quiet. It was like it was on her. And then she started to talk, and she stammered. And then bam, she just became this like amazing sort of like channel, right? In that moment where she was lucid, she was clear, she was putting everything together. It was this incredible moment, to be honest. And it's just but the weird thing was too, is like all of a sudden these guys are wheeling around. They got a video camera in my face, and they're like reporters, and they're trying to figure out who I am. And I was like, whoa, this is a bit much, you know. So I tried to give them as little as possible info as possible because I'm sure they were intel. Anyway, when it was over, it was like this incredibly like cathartic and catalytic moment, which I'll never forget. I never went back to another protest, by the way, but it was just for that one event. And then I managed to go down to this um, coffee place in Olympia, pretty good coffee place. And I sat down, and there she was. She was sitting there at the coffee place, and she came up to me and she said, "Thank you very much. I really appreciated that. That was, you know, that was an important thing for me." I said, "Yeah, well, you were great. You know, wished her all the best," and moved on. And that was the kind of an amazing time, right? So the reason I'm talking about it is because I was going through that phase, that judgment. That judgment was happening. It was on. If you look at the year 1991, what do we have? We've got 1 plus 9, that's 10. 1 plus 9, that's 10. That's a 20, right? So we were going through that phase in 1991, you know, where one world was ending theoretically and another world was beginning. Well, what was the beginning? It was the New World Order, right? So this idea that we were just this kind of sovereign nation, semi-isolationist, well, that was put to rest by George Herbert Walker Bush. So here we are again. We're judgment times 2, and I would say like the same kind of energy that I was experiencing then in 1991 is present now in a lot of ways. You know, which is why I'm doing this every day. It was sort of like the alarm clock went off in me. It's like, okay, here we go. This is it. Sound the trumpets. All right, here we go. Portland's most memorable protest. So this is what led to this story, the 1991 anti-war protest. Valid protest, by the way, because it was a bullshit, bogus war. This is a 1934 Portland, striking Portland longshoremen protested efforts to bring in replacement workers. They surrounded the hiring hall and disabled buses that were there to take the new hires to the port. The strike breakers never even got near the docks, the Oregonian reported. So if you look at Portland's ascendant, where they have Jupiter and they have Neptune and Mars also in Aquarius, they would be very quote unquote communitarian or, you know, really union oriented, right? Port operators are spurred to turn an old ship into a floating hotel, so the replacement workers wouldn't have to cross picket lines. But strikers infiltrating it, tossing guards into the water. How about that? There's your commitment. So stereotypers for the Oregon Journal walked off the job. 1959 to protest stagnant pay and the impact of increasing automation. So sometimes they're on the right side of this stuff, you know? Increasing automation. This, you know, other newspaper union members joined them 5 months later. Several hundred strikers staged a long funeral procession-style march through downtown Portland to keep the strike in the public's mind. The labor dispute included bombings and other violence before it finally ended in 1965 with the 2 dailies becoming open shops. So think about this now. Basically, we're talking about a 7-year cycle, which is Saturn, and they're using terrorist tactics. So what's really weird here, right, is that the 2 dailies go through this this conflict with these workers, and they become open shops, meaning there is no union. And here they're fighting for the union. To me, this is Portland all the way through Moon and Gemini. This is Portland Mayor Terry Shrunk, Police Chief William Hillbruner, and the Reverend Richard Steiner were among the Portland movers and shakers in 1960 who protested the Guild Theater's decision to show Louis Malle's film The Lovers. Shrunk called the movie "Filth for Phil's sake and for dollars." Guild manager Nancy Welch, interesting name, of course, Robert Welch, was the founder of John Birch Society, was later convicted for violating the city's obscenity ordinance, but the state Supreme Court overturned the conviction. This is a solemn march right here. This is 1963. This is the death of Medgar Evers. So we're doing the historical view of Portland and its this the kind of the nuclear core of its activism. Portland State hosted a national security seminar featuring Army officers warning of the dangers of communism. The Campus Committee on Democratic Education, armed, wrote the organ with beards and babes and banjos, protested the insecurity seminar. Folk musicians played in the park blocks while more than 100 students carried signs and messages. This is a college, not kindergarten, and muscles, no substitute for mentality. The folk music scene, I'm going to do a show on the folk music scene one of these days, and how the folk music scene came up and was deeply politicized as a movement and as a genre, just like all these other movements and genres. Now, folk music, as we know it, comes out of the deep roots of the Appalachian Mountains, you know, where you have banjos and guitars and things like that. It comes out of the folk music scene, really originates there. There are connections with the South and, you know, people like Woody Guthrie, This Land Is Your Land, and all that stuff, right? So it comes out of this area of poverty, you know, sort of economic disparity. And if you look at the music that really kind of originates from the Appalachians, it actually comes from Ireland. So there's an Irish tradition, obviously, in folk music. So it goes from Ireland, because we have Irish, we have some Scotch that are living in that area, a lot of Irish roots, and you can hear the similarities in the music, right? You can even see some of the similarities in like the dancing. Like there's, you know, the White family who have this interesting kind of style of like crazy dancing. It's not that far removed from the river dance. You can see the connections between the two of them. And you know why the river dance happens, right? When they're like this, it's because their arms are in shackles. Okay. Their arms are in shackles. They can only move their feet. That's why the river dance is the river dance. So the folk music scene is interesting. It becomes politicized. Obviously, I'm going to get into that one of these days. We'll do a deep dive on the folk scene, the creation of Peter, Paul, and Mary, who the producers were, the influence of Peter, Paul, and Mary, and these other groups, New Christy Minstrels, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So there we go. And they're actually, you know, here we have these guys warning about the dangers of world communism. World communism, not a bad thing to be reminded of, by the way. 1967, 6 Reed College students blocked entry to Portland's U.S. Selective Service office by chaining themselves to the front doors. A dozen more students marched in front of the chain gang with signs. Police had to borrow a large bolt cutter from the Bonneville Power Administration to cut the main padlock. As Professor Chen, hell no, we won't go, blah, 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 blah. Okay, there we go. Here we got more. The Battle of the Parks, park blocks, May 1970. Portland State students, faculty, and other protesters against police. A tactical unit charged the protesters who barricaded the streets as part of a non-violent nationwide student strike. That's Chiron and Aries, which is playing out right now. Probably that's around the same degree of where we are with Chiron and Aries, by the way. The Oregonian showed a young woman sobbing on the ground, her shirt splattered with a friend's blood. A grand jury was convened, but ended up refusing to issue indictments. Oh, those were different times now. During the final years of the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War, Portlanders held a weekly anti-war vigil at the Pioneer Courthouse in 1972. Hawaiian Congresswoman Patsy T. Mink, what the hell is she doing there? And Wayne Morse, former U.S. Senator from Oregon, joined in on the observance. Stop bombing China. Oh, okay. What do we have here? We have longtime Black Panther leader Kent Ford. And another local activist carried a casket during 1977 Portland City Council meeting to highlight what they consider the Metropolitan Steering Committee's destructive police policies, destructive policy priorities, methods. Okay, so I'm assuming that their policing policy was in there. 7 years earlier, Ford had led a group of protesters to the city council after the shooting of 19-year-old Albert Williams. Okay, so old wine, new bottle. And that's not to say that the cops aren't corrupt. I just want to be able to bring that into the conversation, because in many cases they are. They are. What is this? The American Revolutionary Communist Party, 1980, May Day parade to Lonsdale Square, met by aggressive counter demonstrators who dogged the march, shouting down with communism, red is for murder. The confrontation evolved from opposing chants into name calling and then a brawl. A week earlier, in a prelude to the melee, a bomb went off in the men's room at the square. So Portland is a hotbed, man, for this stuff. Again, look at the chart. We did it last night. Now, of course, the Rajneeshis have to get into it. They're pissed because Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh's followers sang dance outside the U.S. Immigration and Naturalization Service. A lot of Fed stuff in Portland, as we know. This is 1983 to protest what they said was harassment and physical abuse by INS investigators. Before the Eastern Oregon Commune collapsed 2 years earlier, Rajneeshis committed various crimes, including deliberately spreading salmonella on restaurant salad bars in the Dales, which is true, by the way. The Oregonian did like a 21-part series on what was going on at the compound, and Manan Sheila was right in the center of it all. You should check out that 21-part series if you can. So here we go. Now they're protesting Andrew Dice Clay. He's homophobic, right? They gotta get out there. He isn't funny. I really didn't like Andrew Dice Clay very much. I really didn't like him. I didn't like his humor. It didn't resonate with it. Whatever. I'm not. No, I just didn't find him funny. It's not. I mean, it's all a big shtick, right? Big meathead shtick. Wasn't my thing. I'm telling dirty jokes, the comedian said, and they make me out to be a mass murderer. Well, that's true. Here we go. There he is, Papa Bush, the American asset rolling out the New World Order. This is 1991, right? So he called Portland Little Beirut. The writer, Chuck Palahniuk, this is the guy that wrote Fight Club, by the way, says Portland anarchists during this time gathered together outside the downtown Hilton Hotel. Whenever presidents came to town, they ate potatoes. Check this out. This is extreme. They ate potatoes dyed with food coloring, and then when the motorcade arrived, drank syrup of ipecac and puked red, white, and blue barf. And you gotta give it to Portland, man. That's commitment. That is commitment. We're gonna drink. We're gonna eat stuff. We're gonna do red dye. Who's got the red dye? How do you do the white dye? What is the white dye? Who's got the blue dye? And did they puke red, white, and blue in unison? That's funny shit. All right, we got more protests here. What do we got? These are the anarchists. They had a convention. Somehow they all agreed on a place to congregate outside the X-Ray Cafe when they faced off with the police. The so-called anarchist riot in 1993 resulted in broken windows, black eyes, and priceless memories. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. This guy's probably got his face like going in two different directions. Remember that anarchist convention 93? Oh, my God. It was great. It was so great. Yeah, we really took it to the man. I'm so sorry. All right, here we go. And then this guy seems kind of interesting. Ace Hayes. He died in 1998. Was he brought him into the Portland protest? He led anti-war demonstrations in the 1960s, held monthly secret government seminar lectures in the 1980s, published the Portland Free Press, claimed to be read by the CIA, among others. So this guy was a researcher trying to wake people up. This is the other side of like the protest movement, right? It's like people who are revelators and awakeners. And they say, look, this is going on here. This is what's happening. And then what they do with it, well, that's a whole other thing, right? I got a bird floating around back here. Now, this is Charlie Hales. And he was a city commissioner. I guess this is downtown. He came around downtown corner on May Day in 2000 and was stunned to find a wall of police for what to my amateur eyes was a noisy but not terribly disruptive rally. Later that afternoon, the large swarming labor rights march degenerated into chaos, and police declared an emergency with officers charging in on horseback. Portland's changed a little bit, hasn't it? Now, this guy, again, you got to like Give it up for this guy's commitment. Check this out. In June 2000, 26-year-old environmental activist Trey Arrow, protesting logging in the Mount Hood National Forest, spent 11 days on a 9-inch wide, look at that, 11.9, right? That's revolutionary. Those are Bolshevik revolution numbers. 9-inch wide, third-story ledge on the downtown Portland building that housed U.S. Forest Service's Northwest Regional offices. He finally rappelled to the ground into the arms of his supporters. 12 years later, Arrow ran for Portland mayor while in jail, where he landed after a supervised release violation on eco arson conviction. So he's an eco. Basically, he's an eco-terrorist. But again, you got to admire the guy's commitment there. 11 days on this. That was it. Like, did he stay up for 11 days? How did he sleep? This is how did he pee? What is this here? This is water. What is that? Is that his fuel to keep him going? Third-story ledge. So that's about we had 8 feet tall buildings, 24 feet up in the air. 2002, this is G.W. Bush. And of course, there is the expected rally, and not just a rally, but a visceral protest against the younger Bush, which I support, by the way. Police used pepper spray and shot rubber bullets to break up a surging protest that kept local Republican donors from getting into a downtown fundraiser. Protesters leaped onto the hoods of the police cruisers to hold off law enforcement. One activist insisted there was no warning, no ultimatum, nothing, before the police started to pepper spraying the crowd. Boy, Portland has changed, right? There's your 2002, right? 2002, which is the aftermath of 2001, where we have the, of course, the dark magical operation known as the Twin Towers. And in 2012, Occupy. Occupy takes to the streets in Portland. This is Cameron Whitten, apparently, staged a high-profile hunger strike while camping outside the Portland City Hall. He wanted to raise awareness of the growing housing crisis in the city. Hope I don't die, he tweeted after nearly 3 weeks without food. Whitten finally ended his protest after 55 days. On the same day, Portland City Council announced it would participate in a regional summit on housing and homelessness. Well, he got his point across. Not violence, but he was willing to die. And the guy's willing to die on some level for his cause. You got to be able to respect that on some level, right? And then here we go. The Oregonian called it the hug shared around the world. This is a photograph of 12-year-old Devontae Hart and Portland Police Sergeant Brett Barnum at a November 2014 rally protesting endemic police violence. Captured something special. Hope. Hart carrying handmade sign. Free hugs. Free hugs. So the kid had a sign, free hugs, was among more than 2,000 people at the demonstration. His goal to spread love and kindness. It's a little bit different kind of demonstration now. This looks very real. I mean, I think this picture is powerful. This is powerful. Here's a young guy. I don't know what his family situation is like. More than likely, unfortunately, it's a cliche, but probably not a long, strong paternal influence. And here's this dude willing to give this young man a hug. That is a beautiful picture. And there's emotion there. Now this kid, I don't know. If we fast forward, this is not that long ago. This is 2014. We're 6 years removed from this, and this is not happening. Not in Portland. Okay, here we go here. These are protesters, 2015. Look at that. Suspended themselves from the St. John's Bridge. You got to give it up, man. These people are pretty fucking creative. Really. In an effort to stop Shell Oil's icebreaker MSV Fennica from heading out to sea. Everybody's hearts are broken. Greenpeace, USA spokesperson, Cassidy Sharp. The Fennica managed to weave through the protesters and leave Portland. Yeah, so this is this is a new version of like getting in front of somebody's vehicle, right? They're trying to get in front of an oil tanker. You got to like give it up for their creativity and their commitment there. I will have to say. All right, what do we got here? This is the protest happened in Seattle, but it does have a Portland connection. A Gearhart activist named Kit Metka took on the persona of Miss Sex Object during the 1972 Miss Oregon pageant. She and fellow protesters dogged and pranked attendees throughout the pageant. The Rose City Connection, Portland's Sandra Lynn Herring, won the Miss Oregon title. I don't feel exploited at all, Herring said. There we go. Sex object. Again, a lot of creativity there. Some commitment. Anti-war protests. Bring all our troops home now. Look at this. See the strong female contingency here with Portland? Again, we looked at that last night with the moon in Gemini, fifth house, conjunction the south node, square Uranus. I'm going to get into more of that today. I'm going to give you an updated version on this. Do you demand change, right? So we had Douglas Perry. Portland's had so many demonstrations over the years that we probably left out a few or a few hundred that deserve to make the list. Sorry, you're welcome to picket our offices to protest the oversight. All right, so there we go. There's your Portland retrospective as it relates to their ongoing relationship with protesting and activism. Okay, there we go. Portland is the lesbian capital. Val, thank you for sharing that. I think you got some intel. Be careful who you mate with. Joe, you could not be more correct with that. Okay, what else do we have here? My friend on the jury for the trial at 1-0, very sad indeed. What else do we have? I was at the studio that made the signs for the bridge protest. It was a great one. See? Even Deanna, who is our residential Portlandian who has seen the light. You guys seen the light yet? Are you seeing the light yet? There you go. This is your opportunity to see the light right there. I'll just let that permutate the airwaves just for a minute, right? This is the time of Janus. This is the new day. Janus has arisen. Deanna saw the light. Glad she did. Wow, I've never done this show here in the morning like this. It's kind of cool, actually. All right, let's see what we got here. Put your hands on the screen. Negative blood types need plenty of iron and copper, needed to support its absorption. There we go. All right, so I'm going to bring you up to date with the whole Portland thing. You guys got to check this out. Remember, I was just talking about this last night. Okay, and it just seems like now that the way the world operates is so synced up, right? It is so synced up. So let me show you what's going on in Portland. See if I can find this thing. Not that. Oh, where is it? Where'd it go? It's here somewhere. Where is it here? No, that's something different. Is it here? Yes, here it is. Okay. All right. This is recently. This is like what? Last 24 hours. Check it out. What do we see in Portland now? Look at this. Portland moms form human shield to protect protesters from feds. So here we go. The moms are involved. What did I say last night? What did I say about that Gemini conjunct the South Node? Here we go. Here's your human wall. The moms are involved. They are the shields. They're protecting these protesters. The only thing they need now is a few kids in front of them. Hey, feds, leave our kids alone. Dozens of moms formed a human shield between anti-racism protesters and law enforcement officials. This is not about racism, okay? It's not about racism. Let's just get that out in the open. This is about revolt. This is about creating a highly charged situation that is part of the Hegelian dialectic, okay? Moms are here, feds stay clear. Moms are here, feds stay clear. Group of 100, according to footage on the posted on social media. Many of the women wore yellow and donned bike helmets as they linked arms. They carried signs that read, "Angry Mama, Bear, BLM, moms are pissed." We're the dads. Oh, I know where the dads are. The dads are MIA. Or maybe they're standing in the back. in the back of the protest. At least it was this. It was at least the second night in a row that the group showed up to the ongoing demonstrations against brutality, police brutality, racism, blah 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 blah. On Saturday night, about 30 moms gathered outside the same courthouse to form a barrier. They stood for a few hours for feds and tear gas and flashbangs to disperse the crowd. We were about protecting peaceful citizens' the right to protest. Bev Barnum. There's a sucker born every minute. Right? P.T. Barnum. There's a sucker born every minute. Thank you, Bev Barnum. The organizer of Wall of Marms, the 35-year-old content marketer and mom of two, said she'd hoped the group's non-threatening appearance would allow them to provide protection to the protesters. But they were later tear gassed away. She said she plans to continue to organize for moms to attend the protests, which have been raging in the city for more than 50 days. Will be out until no protester needs protecting. So what happens if now all of a sudden the human collateral damage known as the moms, what happens if they get if they suffer some serious injuries here? By the way, I'm just an observer in life, and even with the masks, I don't see really one deeply melanated person here. Not one deeply melanated person. And again, if I was somebody who was on the other side of the equation, I'd say, moms, go home. Go home. This is not your beef. This is not your literal skin in the game. But trust me, they're willing to have these people out there for a period of time. I'm not talking about all of the other side, the 180, okay? I'm talking about the organized version of that, also known as capital B, capital L, capital M. And this is the ally squad, right? Okay, so I'm going to show you now. And look at this. America's closing up, man. We are in for some big issues. Big trouble with the coronavirus. I'm going to try to get into that a little bit as things keep getting closed up, including the passport office, by the way. If you don't have a passport that's in force, you are FUCKED. And even if you do have a passport, your travel is limited right now. You can go to the Balkans. And even the Caribbean islands are starting to, which had been kind of an open area, some of them are starting to shut down now as well, okay? So theoretically, you can go into Mexico, but the Canadian border is closed, right? So for all intents and purposes now, we are being locked in. Europe says, sorry, you are diseased. You have problems dealing with wearing a mask. Europe is not letting the United States in. There's a list of countries that Europe will allow to travel in. One of them is Rwanda, which I find very interesting. So now Rwanda has more international status than the United States. Okay? That's it. So if you want to travel somewhere, it's Balkan City, baby. That's where you can go, and that's about it. Everybody else, the doors are shut. If you don't have a passport, you are FUCKED. If you have a passport that is getting ready to expire and you want to theoretically leave, you should probably think about that now, because I doubt that the passport office will open up until they have the COVID ID passport, which will allow you to travel again, which means you got the vaccine. And then the EU will say, oh, the Americans have cleaned up their act. They took the vaccine. They got the passport. We'll let them back in now. This is happening. And so the walls are closing in from an international level. They're closing in at the state level. They're closing in at a local level. And people don't see this. They don't see this. And I'll tell you why they don't see this. Because most people are batshit fucking crazy and programmed to the point where they can't even think rationally in a lot of ways. Can't. I'm going to show you an example of this. This is going to flip you out. And it's disturbing. It is really, really disturbing. Okay, let me just find it. Hold on. I know I have it up here somewhere. Got that. Okay, we'll take care of that. We'll take care of this. Okay, we got that. Let me see here. Do I want anything from this? Okay, yeah. All right, let me show you this. There's a website that I really like. It's called annerfan.blogspot.com. I really, really like this website. The gal who runs this website just has kind of this ongoing running script. You can see all these things are kind of linked together. Let me give you a quick share on that because she's got some interesting stuff here. So let's do this. We'll just take a brief little journey. Okay, there it is. Brief little journey here into the world of Annerfan. So what she is basically pointing out and being quite sarcastic but making fun of, a man who suffered a fatal motorcycle accident in Florida last week was added to the state's COVID-19 death count. Do you see what's happening here? They're just running the numbers. They're rigging the numbers. And this is funny. Latest COVID-19 victim. And we have, he went through the windscreen, but got trampled by a herd of cows and then was run over by a tractor. So another case of COVID-19 then. Man crushed by a steamroller dies of coronavirus. This is the absurdity of it all. And Elon Musk is urging anyone who's tested positive for COVID-19 to undergo another examination due to the ridiculous number of false positives. Far off into the distance is where you should fuck off and take your fake virus bollocks with you. You can see why I like this website. She really gets into the whole pedophilia thing. This is a really interesting meme, by the way. Denying yourself oxygen and breathing in your expelled carbon dioxide. The cumulative respiratory consequences will be labeled COVID-19. You bet your ass. Oh, there's Trump sporting his COVID-19 mask. So I just wanted to bring some of this up for you guys. She does get into a lot of the darker side of what happens with kids. And it is, if you want to stay up on that, this is not a Q site. Coronavirus kills 2 men in meth lab explosion. That's true. Look at that. That's a CNN headline. Military whistleblower, vaccines, Gulf War syndrome. Stay abreast of this website. There's a lot going on there. And especially if you guys, I know a lot of you are really into the whole child thing. So let me bring up something else. And this is really in a lot of ways the unfortunate aspects of where we currently are. So watch this. This is it's at a lake, and I don't know where this lake is. Unstable woman loses her shit over social distancing at lake. Goes DEFCON 1 with his tape measure, with her tape measure. Now, keep in mind, what I'm about to show you is that this woman is not wearing a mask. Okay, so just watch how this thing unfolds. And apparently, this woman is Hispanic, right? She's just out in the lake. She's just trying to have a good time. So let's roll this thing.
Look at someone and wonder, what is going on inside your head?
Goodness sakes. Venimos a tener un pacífico día y
Supuestamente una enfermera.
Supuestamente enfermera quiere que nos movamos más lejos
Por la gana de ella.
All right, so do you think that was staged? Do you think that, because that's a TikTok moment, right? Do you think that was staged, or that woman was losing their shit? They had TikTok on the phone and they just wanted to go live with that, right? But that woman, man, she was unhinged, unfucking hinged. Deanna says staged. That's interesting. Mary says staged. Kevin says staged. Here we go. Staged. Let's see. What else do we have? Yes, it's 15 seconds. Succinct. Okay, what was the drama? The drama was apparently they weren't social distancing enough. Faith says hard to tell. Well, that woman was losing her shit, right? Hey, Ani. So she's saying the nurse wants her to move because I was going to ask you. The nurse wants her to move. Ani says fake-a-roni. Because what do we have here now? We have this woman who's Hispanic, right? She's Hispanic. And, you know, now we have this crazy ass white woman. Seems like all the Karens are crazy ass white. Ann Jackson says stage, they're being paid. Stage, big lady in front, didn't respond. So there you go, right? So now we have this TikTok moment. And I'd say some women love to scream. Man, I could go in a very different direction with that comment, but I'm not. I'm gonna back off of that one. All the world is staged. All right, we got staged, unanimous. Stage moment. Okay. I'm gonna show you something that's not staged. I'm gonna show you something that's real. Okay. Anna Erickson says, haven't been a therapist for 30 years. Some people do lose it. Hard to tell, but it could be real. So that woman's hysteria, pretty hysterical. Uncle Glenn says, from people I've been around lately, I say it is possible. Okay, now we're starting to get some other voices chime in. Do you see how slippery the slippery slope of so-called reality is? That woman was really losing her shit. I mean, losing her shit. All right. Should I play you guys another one? Which one that I don't think is staged, by the way? I'm gonna try to find this thing. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. This is all about women today. Okay. All about women, and in a good way, hopefully, because I'm going to show you some very positive attributes for women here, and particularly one woman. Give me 1 second. Let's see, what do we have here? This is some funny shit. I don't think this is staged, by the way. So this is going to let's see. I got to find this thing now. Let's see. Hold on. And find this thing. Okay, I'm having a hard time finding it now. But there's a woman who was in. God, I wish I could find this thing. Hold on. Give me 1 sec. Maybe I can find it. See, I think it's over here in the previous day. Hold on. Sweet potato and yams, DHAE, for heart health and testosterone. All you guys out there, pay attention to that. Is Ron Paul running in 2020? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Let's see. What do we have here? Just trying to find this laugh out loud. The body double forgot to shave. I got to try this. Hold on a second. What is this? Oh, okay. There's an interesting video out that purports that Kamala Harris has doubles, which I don't disagree with, by the way, at all. I think she does. I think doubles are swarming our system. Whether they're doubles or clones, they're swarming the system. Okay, I just got to find this one thing. If I can't find it, I'm going to ban it. But it's really interesting. If not, then I'll just break it down. Where is it? Chesa Boudin will be a future governor of California. God help you, California. That's all I'm saying. God help you. If he'll be he'll be Gazem Newsom times 100. If you know who Chesa Boudin is, he is the adopted son of Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn, because his parents are doing a bid in federal prison because, well, they blew people up and killed people. Okay. So Chesa Boudin was raised by Bill Ayers. He's another Obama, right? And Chesa got his cut his teeth hanging out with Hugo Chavez, okay, in Venezuela. Helped him on his notes. Helped him on his great autobiography. Okay. All right. I can't find this one video. If I find it, I'll play it tomorrow. I will describe it to you. It's a video of this woman. I believe it is Whitefish, Montana. And she's in line. Let me do this. Hold on. Let me put this in here. Let me just try for. She's in line at a supermarket, and she is being stalked and harassed by a guy. And let's see, we have here. I'm trying to find it. She's being basically stalked by a guy who is videotaping her, and she winds up going out. She doesn't like the videotaping, and the guy follows her. They're in line, and he was busting her on her inability to social distance. Okay. And so she goes out to her car, and she winds up confronting these two. She starts coughing on them. So if I find it, I'll play it tomorrow. It is definitely like some kicks. I'll tell you that right now. Maybe I have it on another browser or something. Okay, so I'm going to cut to the chase now. I'm going to show you somebody who is definitely heroic, okay? I'm going to get into the positive side of all this. So this is a woman. Her name is Bevelyn Beatty, all right? Some of you might know who she is. I'm going to show you the face of commitment. I'm going to show you the face of probably the most patriotic, theoretically, freedom-loving, theoretically, truthful, theoretically, God-loving, theoretically, Christ-invoking person you will see maybe ever. All right. This is a different version of commitment. Now, this video is about 12 minutes. I'm not going to play it all because there's another video of her, and I don't think this is staged. I'm just telling you that right now. This is not staged. I believe that what you're seeing here is coming from the heart and the soul of this person. Okay? The heart and soul of this person. So here we go. I'm going to jump right in here. And this is Bevelyn Beatty. Sit back. Enjoy this level of commitment. If you have an issue with religion or Christianity or Jesus, just check it at the door for a moment, okay? Away we go.
Jesus. So they know.
They don't know.
They don't know, but they said
They-
fuck you.
All right, I just want to get you a full screen on it. Give you.
God's just doing favor, girl. I'm rolling. We together.
Is it the camera right now?
You got it, Jessica. Come on.
Jesus.
You got it. All right. She's not parking. She's not parking. You guys, we're here. Just stay tuned. Let me flip my camera around.
All of these are open
Okay.
and ready to go.
Okay.
Where the gloves at? I need gloves.
The gloves, there was in the bag. The gloves? I don't know where the gloves
Well, can you she's doing.
I don't know where they are. I'm nervous. Sorry. I'm shaking.
Thank you. It's okay.
What did the cops say? Okay. Do you see the gloves, Josette? There was a plastic bag. Okay. Hold on.
You guys do with a lot of paint.
Decorate.
Decorating?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Jesus.
Probably not the decorating we're thinking of, right?
Huh?
I don't think it's the kind of decorating we're both thinking of, right? What are you decorating?
I'm black.
The what?
I'm black.
I'm black.
no,
I painted black.
No, I was just asking what the whole thing is.
Yes.
You have to move the car though. You can't park.
Okay, we'll move it. That's it? You got it? Yeah. It's okay. We ain't got time. Let's just get to it.
Where's your helpers?
People that come, if they come, they come. If they don't,
Okay.
they don't.
All right.
So people to check.
So all of these are open.
Y'all just start. We just must get to it.
Okay.
I need to move the car. Yeah, but you got the keys out the car? I'm getting
Guys,
take the keys out
guys,
of
you
the
gotta leave right now.
Where's my car?
Guys,
Huh?
listen, I'm asking you guys. You gotta leave right now. You can't be.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, right? For the black people. It's for the black people. They destroying businesses for black people. They're looting for black people. They do it for black people, right? Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. You want to defund the police for black people. You're lying. No, we're not standing for Black Lives Matter. We want our police. Refund our police. Refund our police. Y'all don't care about black lives. Y'all don't care about black lives. Refund the police. Refund the police. They say Black Lives Matter. They say Black Lives Matter, right? They say Black Lives Matter. Oh, they don't care about black lives. They don't care about black lives. They don't care. 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 Refund the police. Refund the police. Refund the police. Refund the police. They don't care about black lives. They lie. They liars. They're liars. They say they care about black lives. They're saying to defund the police. All for the sake of black people. The black people doesn't care about black people. The black people doesn't care. Refund the police. 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 Devil. Devil. Refund the police. 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 Jesus name. Jesus name. We will never support Black Lives Matter. We will never support. We will never support. We will never support. They're killing each other. Where y'all at? Where y'all at? Where y'all at? They don't care. Y'all don't care about black people. Susan, get your keys. Get your keys. They're not mine. They don't care about black people. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. Bill Blasio doesn't care about black people. I'm not getting up. I'm not getting up. They don't care about black people. They can kill that demon. They can kill that. Black Lives Matter is a demon. It's the devil. It's destroying this nation. They don't care. They don't care. They want to get
Look at this
They want to arrest
here.
them.
Look at this hypocrite right here.
kill each other. We're dying in the streets. We're dying in the streets. We're dying in the streets. And they talking about Black Lives Matter. We're dying in the streets. They don't care about black people. They don't care. They
All right, that is the meat right there of what this woman is doing. And I got more. I got more on her. Why would they be arresting her? Why? Because she's not looting or burning down a store. That's why. I'm having knee envy. I was thinking the same thing, Ani. It's like I'd have to be wearing knee pads on that moment, right? Definitely. It hurts my heart to hear that. That actually makes my heart sing. Because that's a woman, that's commitment, man. She's on her freaking knees, right? She's on her knees. She's for the police. I don't understand. Well, okay, Dawn, I'll do the math with you, right? I'll do the math. The police are given orders to protect certain people and their rights to protest and not other rights of certain people. Okay, it is a completely rigged game and a rigged situation. Completely rigged, okay? And you could tell the police are kind of stunned. They don't know really what to do, right? They don't know really what to do in that moment because some of them are like, they're kind of backing off of her. One of my favorite moments, I hate to say it, is when the cop slips on the paint and falls. I'm sorry. I'm having a little schadenfreude in there, okay? I'm having a little schadenfreude about that moment. That, slips. Did you notice how many of the cops didn't have masks on, by the way? If they had a mask, it was down below their nose. It's complete bullshit. It's complete bullshit. If the cops were really, going to move into the whole mask thing, they should be wearing full protective gear. They should be hooked up to oxygen. That's what their daily uniform should be. But they're not. They're not. And so they are having a moment there where they are certainly not social distancing. Cops didn't want to wear the paint. Okay, here we go. That is commitment. That is commitment. That is commitment. That woman is on her hands and knees. Hands and knees. Gloves on. Hands and knees. She's beyond great. This is, I'm telling you right now, this is the most important video you're going to see today, maybe this week, maybe this month, maybe for the rest of the year. Okay? All right. So here we go. I'm going to show you our friend here. Our friend was not done because they have such a liberal catch and release policy in New York City. Well, she had plans. She had plans. And here we go. Later that night, Bevelyn Beatty back on the case. Hold on, I just want to make sure you get the audio on this. I got to make sure I got this right. Give me one sec here. Give me one sec. I just got to make sure I get the audio right. I want to make sure it's in because you got to hear her. There it is. Okay, got the share audio. Let's go. Let's make this happen. That's the other one. Hold on. Damn it. Let me stop the share on this. Hold on. Give me one sec. There it is. Okay. So this is Bevelyn Beatty, either later that day or night, rather, or perhaps the next day. I don't know exactly the timeline on this. July 18th. So that was 2 days ago. But let's just say we know that she is out of so-called protective custody. And take it away, Bevelyn. Here we go.
It started over. We gotta move fast. Whatever ain't open now ain't open. Let's go. Okay, so which one's open? Which one's open? This one's open. All of these are open. Push them back. Push them back. This is open. Bring that to the front. Push it back. Push it back. Okay. We gotta push it back as far as possible. Someone gotta stay back here. Let me take this out. We don't need this one. We're gonna throw that in the garbage. Y'all, I got the can open in my car. These ones, these are closed. These are open.
Bev.
So just kind of push it back. I'm gonna need a new car after this.
Open right here.
Open. All right. These are closed. These are closed. This is closed. All that's closed. Open.
This one's open.
Open. This one's closed. All of these are closed. Open. All right. All of this is open. Yeah. This is closed. little.
It's okay.
You gotta have the top ready to pop off.
Yeah.
Then I'm breaking it.
Let's
Got the
go.
top ready to pop
Open.
off.
It's off.
All right,
It's
LA.
off. Okay, we're good.
Set them in the middle.
Sit in here.
No, in the middle.
Say it again.
In the middle. Listen,
The gates.
That's empty.
we're gonna get someone to come and throw these away because you're not gonna litter in Harlem.
That's empty.
Those are empty.
Okay, no, the
Sorry,
barricade. The barricade.
barricade. Okay,
Barricade.
now this is what we're doing. Watch
Oh,
it.
that's all.
Hold on. The barricade. They barricaded the street just so people could look at this. This is a middle finger to the left. We're gonna show you how we feel about Black Lives Matter. We're gonna show you Jesus. Hurry up. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Right. Don't be too fast. She's following behind you, so don't be too fast. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, that's the ambulance. We good. Slow down. Let's handle it. Jesus. Hey. Jesus matters. Yes. Jesus matters. Jesus matters. Jesus matters. Before anything else can matter, Jesus gotta matter.
Hey, yo. Hey, yo.
Before anything else can
Hey,
matter,
yo.
Jesus gotta matter.
What's wrong with you?
Before anything else can matter,
What's wrong with you?
Jesus has to
But what's
matter.
wrong with you? You're a black
Jesus
woman.
has to matter. Black.
You're a black woman.
They're killing us.
What the fuck
We're
is
dying.
wrong with you? You're a
We're
black
dying.
woman.
We're dying.
But you're a black woman. What's wrong with y'all?
We're dying. We're dying in the streets.
So that don't make you
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
stupid. That's real fucking smart. Matter of fact, I got something for you.
Drive off. Drive off. Go.
Y'all are over. Y'all are canceled. In the name of Jesus. Cancel them.
Yo. Hey. Hey, this is for Jesus, y'all. Get it together, man. We not even violent. Y'all see the violence, y'all see what's going on, but we doing this for Jesus Christ. Just know it. Lives matter, period. When you start making any other life matter above another, listen, that's not what Jesus would do. Just think right now, Christians, if Jesus came right now, what would he say? Lives matter. That's what he would say. Come on now.
That is beautiful, man. I got to say, that is so beautiful, right? That is so beautiful. I'm inspired. I'm so totally inspired. She's turned her vehicle into a paint job. I know, right? They adapted. They totally adapted. Now, this has a Strange Days vibe. Amazing. Incredible, right? Isn't that amazing? And it's just one victory, right? We just need one victory. A little with just one victory. Todd Rundgren there. Yeah. Just one victory, man. Okay, I got another video of hers to show you. That was her second spot. That was the follow-up of an earlier mission that they had in the very same place that they were when they were putting down the first version of that paint. And I was like, okay, we got to go back and fix that job. Let me see if I can find that one. This is just great stuff, man. I could watch this all day. And she's live streaming too. She's live streaming the whole thing. I hope Tucker, really gets back on his show and starts showing this, right? and start showing this stuff. All right. So this is the drive-by in Brooklyn that I have to play this one. So the one was Harlem, and this is the one in Brooklyn that they did. Apparently, these wonderful street murals were adorning most of New York City. Okay. So this was I think it was earlier in the night, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure where they were sequentially. It looks like on her YouTube channel, the Harlem hit happened first, and then there was this one, and you're going to get into the power of invocation here. I'm going to show you something about the power of invocation. Whether you believe in Jesus or not, Sananda, right? You're going to watch that the power of invocation actually has power. We're talking power, right? Real power. Watch what she does here. Watch what they do. It's the same crew, although they're not going to be doing this as the drive-by. They're getting out the paint rollers. All right, so let's make this happen.
No, it's good. It's
live.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we live.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, we in Brooklyn, and it ain't over. Jesus matters. We're taking our country back. We're taking it back.
I just want to point out here, she's wearing war paint. She's got war paint on her face, okay?
And let me tell you something. The police need our help. They can't stand alone. Don't just sit by idly and watch your country go to the ground. Stand with your police force. Vote for Trump. Vote Republican. Vote for Christians and stand up Christians.
The ungodly, demonic, antichrist people out of this nation, please.
In Jesus' name. Hey guys, I just want to encourage you guys to pray. Just pray for us right now. Pray for the officers. Pray for what we're doing right now. We're doing it for Jesus. We're doing it for every single life out there, including Black lives. We're doing it for all the Black lives that Black Lives Matter doesn't stand up for. Even Don Lemon said it in the news. He said it himself to Terry Crews that Black Lives Matter is not about what happens to Black lives in the hood. It's not about what happens to any other Black lives except the ones that they feel earn them money, clearly. So we're doing it for Christ right now, y'all. We hidden everywhere. So pray for us, guys. Please pray for us. In Jesus' name.
What one is that? Oh, right here. You gotta take the top all the way up.
I took some tops off or something.
Yeah, that one has a top off. Grab two. Try to grab. We're gonna grab 3 a person.
Yeah, maybe rough. Let me grab this.
Let's go. I know. But we gotta move slow, like faster. Like we be cruising right now.
We cruising, y'all.
We gotta move quick.
Come on. This one's one person.
Hold on. Here, I got it.
Hey, just pray for us. That's all we asking for. Pray for us, y'all. Pray for us. There's a lot of people here. Just pray for us.
No, it's gonna spill. It's gonna spill.
You got one? You got a roller?
Yeah, I got a
Put that under your arm.
The roller?
Yes.
So it's
Put that under your arm.
it's fine like that.
Oh, no, you have it. No, I didn't see it. I need mine. Let's go. You gotta at least cover the word black.
Let's go.
Follow behind her. Be ready to pull up.
Let's go, y'all. Let's go, y'all. What they do? This for all black lives, man. This for all black lives. This for all black lives, bro.
He's not. But you like to grab my friend's stomach. You want to listen to this? His name is Jesus.
Fuck no, no.
His name is Jesus. His name is Jesus. I rebuke this demon.
They said it on the news themselves. This is not for all black lives. Hey, put that down, bro. Don't throw that at a woman. Come on, bro. Don't throw that at a woman, bro. Come on, bro. This is all for black lives, bro. This is all for black lives. Come on, bro. This is all for black lives, bro. Don't do that, man. Come on, man.
His name is Jesus Christ. His name is Jesus. His name is Jesus.
You got a demon in you. Can you text me this?
I got you, bro. God bless you, man. God bless you. Yeah, I'm with them.
Why don't you carry on like this? This is not the right
Bro,
way.
this isn't obvious. So what's the right way? You tell me.
I tell you.
What's
That
the right way?
Black Lives Matter situation, it's a token.
Thank you.
This is
You
not,
think they stand
I
up for you?
understand that.
There you go,
I
bro.
understand that. I understand their argument. I agree. But this is extremely the wrong
It's
thing.
not extreme, bro. It just paints in one word. It just paints in one word. No, this is not for the people that died at all. Come on. Go.
Come in here doing that. We ain't bothering you. Do what you want to do, but don't do that.
There you go. There you go. How about that? How about that? So if you know anybody in New York that does any statuary, could you please get them to do a very quick sort of plaster sort of statue of Bevelyn Beatty and stick it in front of City Hall and stick another one of her in front of Warren Wilhelm's house. Right? What was the breaking glass? It might have been her window. So Ani has a really interesting comment, which I thought about. So I'm thinking, how can they upgrade their operation? All right. I had the same thoughts, Ani. So first of all, if they're going to do that, bottom line is they need some wagons. Okay. They need some wagons. So here's a quote unquote white ally. You get your Bevelyn, get yourself some wagons. So you put as many cans of paint on there as possible. That's number one. Number two, I was thinking a very good way to do this would be to pre-fill pastry bags with paint, right? You want to pre-fill the pastry bags with paint. And that way you could tie the ends of the pastry bags off, tie them real tight, right? And then you put those pastry bags, you attach them like to your belt. And you go Batman the whole thing, and you take your pastry bag out and you pop the cap and you just squirt that pastry bag out. So that's another way they could certainly innovate. I would do the pastry bag thing. I did think about a paint sprayer, a legit paint sprayer, because they do have the paint sprayers with the guns. Okay, but it's a little bit bulky. You know, I think that the pastry bag solution is really the one to go for, because you could line up about half a dozen of those pastry bags and tie them off on a belt. And if you want to go with with the cans of paint, get a wagon. Just get a wagon and roll that stuff out. Anyway, God bless this woman. Okay. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with this video. I hope it stays up on this channel. The good news is that StreamYard does serve, they do save my recordings and streams. Thank God for StreamYard. I really love your service, by the way. And I can certainly put this up elsewhere if I need to. I am not inciting violence. I'm not inciting hate. None of that. What I am doing is I am showing you people who are doing something, and they're doing something about this egregore which has settled over our country, our community, our people. And these three people, these two women and this young guy, what they're doing is they're fighting back. And what they are doing is far less egregious than burning places down, looting, stealing, toppling statues, right? They're doing something very, very different. Right? But they are protesting in their own way. And by the way, that is a nonviolent protest. They're not hurting anybody. They're not hurting anybody at all. Okay. So if she has a GoFundMe or whatever, Bevlin, I'll support you. I'll throw you some bucks. You keep your thing going. And I hope that this is a real inspiration for other people to stand up against the system, this new oppressive system that is forming around us. Right. All right. I want to leave you with that. That's about as inspirational as it gets. Painted black. I love it, Sticky. I love it. Janitor's lobby dolly. That's too big. You get a wagon. You get a wagon. You can buy wagons at Costco or Walmart, right? The ones with the high sides are easy to put together. I used to have them when I go to the beach. Just get one of those things, load it up, boom, gone. Also, the pastry bag, I think, filled up is a very, very efficient and fast way. So you want to pre-fill beforehand, okay? There you go. What do we have now? Let's see. Don't forget in Jesus' name. In Orlando, Mayor Buddy Dyer had BLM painted on the road by kids, not even associated. Yeah, I mentioned that. Let's see. With the pastry bag, she could write "Happy fucking birthday," de Blasio. I find this to be inspiring as well. I have a folding wagon that holds up to 100 pounds. There you go. It's the wagon. That's what they need. It's funny. There was an electronic. I think who was this? Was this Luke Viebert? I think Luke Viebert had an electronic music pseudonym called Wagon Christ. Wagon Christ. Yeah, there we go. There's a little inspiration for you girls. Wagon Christ. 50-gallon drum, let it flow. Pour olive oil on the barrel so it can't be picked up. Let's see, Virgo at its finest. Yeah. I'm here to innovate. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to innovate. I'm here to improve their system. So Evelyn, get those pastry bags, string them up, bang, bang, bang. Okay. If there's more of them out there too, good. Jesus has returned in the body of a black woman. Yeah. Isn't that cool? Right? Isn't that cool? That just blows up I got no problem with that. I have no problem with that. By the way, I want to do a long-term video or long player video on children of men. It's a very important video. Very, very important video in a lot of ways and very contemporary. And there's a whole astrological thing with children of men that I really want to break down. Bunch of problem solvers in this group. Love these Christian ladies. Let's see. What do we have here? The streak paint. That stream should be able to burn too. You know it does. Website's going to be launched this week. Details for the webinar coming and details for our event coming as well. Okay, hang in there. We're almost there. And Alicia, thanks you for your patience. She's been rock solid with working with me on this. Line marking applicator used on sports pitches. You could do that. You could certainly do that. What Sigurd is talking about is being able to use a thing that they, chalk off football fields. You fill that with paint. You roll it down. That's a good one. Okay. Dads Against Dirty Dems, DADDS. What's going on, Mr. Cruz? Johnny, what's happening? Children Men is an excellent film on so many levels. It's Children Men is mind-blowing, man. It is totally mind-blowing. Okay. Dollar store baggie, seal and wagon. Grab and toss on the road, then pick up baggies on the way back. I like the idea of the pastry bag because the pastry bag could be usable. I think it's reusable, right? And you reuse it again. You remember now, I grew up in California. Julianne Moore, Children Meant, another movie where she loses her child. Yes, interesting. They should bring rollers with pastry bags. One need to roll. I agree. Bring the pastry bags, bring the rollers if you want to. Right? Boom, boom, boom. I don't think their idea is to really cover the street. It's enough to deface it. So theoretically, they'd have to go back over and paint that stuff. What might be interesting is to have, here I go, mad scientist. What might be interesting is to figure out how to add something to the paint, which makes it a little harder to get off, right? So what would happen if you added kind of an epoxy solution to the paint so that when it hardens, right, it is like it does something else, you know? Or what would happen if you added a little acetone to the paint so that not only does it paint it over, but it also dissolves the other paint beneath it? You know, I'm just thinking outside the box here. I'm just trying to help Devlin out. Okay. There you go. What did Tamara say? Dollar store bags. Dollar store bags are cool. I do like the pastry bag, right? Oh, damn, epoxy would make it like a rock. Exactly. So I'm here to help innovate. They say white people are evil. Am I living up to the moniker? Am I living up to my evil moniker because I'm helping them innovate and making sure that their paint sticks? I love these women, man. They're great. They're fantastic. And brother, you're fantastic as well. I'm glad you had that nice conversation with that guy. He was sympathetic. He saw it, but he's kind of stuck between worlds, right? He's stuck between worlds. He doesn't see, he's allowing this to happen. And so by allowing it to happen, in some ways, he is an active sort of participant in what's taking place. White people are creative. You have no idea. We're creatively devious, man. We're creatively I watched this video, super video. I got to tell the story. I want to get this guy on my show. I saw this video, this guy. I've really been into watching. And Ani, I know you know this, but Ani, there's some great nomad videos out there with camping and stuff. So a lot of these videos have been popping up on my live stream or my feed on YouTube. And some of them are really inspiring. And this dude took a box truck and he turned it into just this killer, like enclosed living space. Like the creativity behind this thing is totally killer. And he painted it and he gave himself a company name for this box truck. It's like, I don't know, solar vortex or solar portal or something like that. And he's got the flower of life on there. So it looks like he's a legit company. And to get a hold of the company, you dial 1-800-867-5309. This guy's a genius, man. He's a total genius. He takes a box truck, he turns it into this like Xanadu on wheels. He's totally incognito. He got himself a Suzuki Jeep, one of those Suzuki Jeeps, painted the same color, same insignia, tows that around with him. A really interesting character. And it's like, there's some innovation right there. And it's creative innovation. It's spiritual innovation. This guy does workshops at the Integratron, right? So, you can be innovative and creative. And that's what they want to stamp out. They want to stamp out the innovation and creativity and the novelty. They want to somehow put it solely in the domain of science. Like there's only a certain group of people who can be innovative and creative and novel. But when they innovate and they're creative and they're novel, it is really, really not always in our best interest, right? But they're willing to celebrate that. What they aren't willing to celebrate and support is the power of the individual who is creative, the power of the individual who is novel, the power of the individual who can adapt. That's what they're not willing to support. They're just not willing to do that. They want to stamp that down. They want to wipe all that out, right? It's not about necessarily being white or black or brown. What they want to stomp out is the spirit, this human spirit that taps into this divine potential of creativity and novelty and imagination and innovation, right? This is what they want to stamp out because they want one prescribed order for everything. They want to be in control of that entire process. So in order to put that process into play, they have to remove the mavericks from the system because we are always looking at ways to circumvent that. We're always looking at ways to kind of make things better, to innovate, right? They want to take the mavericks out of the system. It has nothing to do with being Christians, although Christians now are apparently the mavericks. That woman's a maverick, right? That woman's a maverick. So again, this is what's happening now. They want to remove the maverick. They want to remove the maverick spirit. In a weird way, too, there's this whole Luciferian satanistic thing going on, right? Because if you think of this idea of Lucifer, and now I'm not here to promote Lucifer, by the way, but Lucifer was innovative. And Lucifer was innovative. Satan, not so innovative. Satan, there you go, down. You're down here, right? So there is this interesting clash now between these two sort of demonic and egregore entities, theoretically speaking. And again, I'm not promoting either of them. I'm just giving you sort of another layer of this, right? But it's the creative spirit. It is the creative spirit that they want to stamp out. That's it. That's it. A long time ago, George Green's book, A Handbook for New Paradigm, came out. And I highly suggest you get at least the first copy of this, if you can find it. It really resonates with our time. And I remember when I found that book, I couldn't stop reading it. And I was in kind of a nomadic place in my life, driving all around sort of Northern California, Nevada area, the Gold Country area. I was just like, I didn't have a place to stay. I was trying to find I was in a Janus portal. I've been in Janus portals before. I know what they're like. So I was in a Janus portal and I wound up eventually coming out the other side of that thing. But when I read this book, The Handbook for New Paradigm, is brilliant, really brilliant. And one of the things that, wherever this information was coming from, it talks about this idea of prime creator and source. And prime creator and source wants to know itself through creation, right? It wants to know itself through us. And so what it does is it ultimately supports novelty. It supports novelty and innovation that gives and brings life, okay? That's what it does, because it has no interest really in supporting dark novelty, because dark novelty is entropic. It is a closed loop and a closed circuit. So this idea of God does not evolve with us, right? So it would rather be a part of that process versus the other process, okay? But it will allow the other process to exist so that this other process can recognize it. And here we have the dance, the game. Right now you're in the game. So just remember that creation, prime creator source, it really supports innovation and novelty and creation because it understands itself in a better way through that process. Remember, the other process is a closed loop, a closed circle. And one of the other messages in that book is that there are people, theoretically people, entities, and what they want to do is they want to invert everything so that there theoretically is no prime creator, is no source, is no God. And what they want to do is they want to create a universe based completely on antimatter. That's what they want to do. So when you think of something like CERN is a big tool in their toolkit so that they can somehow create antimatter, invert the universe, kill God, and then they could be the rulers of this universe, right? That's what they want to do. But ultimately, right, and that's why they want to capture the God gene or the God particle, because they want to trap God in its own creation. This is the hubris of these people, right? This is where they're all going. And this is why the vaccines are going to come into play. The hydrogels hit you at an RNA level in search of the God gene inside of you to knock that novelty out, to knock that innovation out. You know, they're like, okay, we just got to inoculate the God out of people. This is what's happening, okay? And you may have a loaded kind of terminology, phraseology, relationship with God. I'm just asking you to re-examine that, okay? Just re-examine it. Re-examine it. Put your bias at the door. You may have grown up in a Christian environment where those images were judgmental or painful or whatever, or the people that were interpreting those messages were on some kind of a power trip, right? And they were completely incongruous with their message. They were hypocrites. Turned a lot of people off. A lot of you people have Chiron and Pisces. You know what I'm talking about. You've been through it. You understood it. Right? I don't have Chiron and Pisces. You know, it was interesting about Chiron. It was, I think it was in Pisces and it retrograded back into Aquarius. The things about my chart are kind of interesting. So we had Jupiter in my chart, and I believe Jupiter had gone retrograde. It was in Capricorn. I believe it had gone retrograde. So I caught Jupiter in Sagittarius versus Capricorn, which is like, okay, I'm cool with that. Not to say that Jupiter and Capricorn is bad, because especially when you had that super conjunction, you had Jupiter and Saturn connected there in 1961, or, that was, a lot of people like had a really interesting benefit from that and still do to this day. Okay, so the other thing too is that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Uranus, if I'm not mistaken, had gone retrograde as well in my chart and wound up being at like 28, is it 28 or 26 Leo, because I was right on that cusp of Uranus Leo and Uranus Virgo. So I get the Uranus Leo thing, and then we have these two retrograde planets that kind of go back into their space and place, Jupiter and Uranus. And what do I get? I get the trine from that. So that, my chart is kind of, I think it's kind of interesting. Anyway, I know why I'm talking about this. But listen, okay, you want to innovate. Oh, it's Chiron and Aquarius. That's how I got there. I'm a heretic. But you guys have Chiron and Pisces. You have your own heretical vision and things you have to work out with religion. That's it. I'm here to work out the Atlantean stuff. You take care of the Fertile Crescent stuff. I'll take care of the Atlantean stuff. Denise walked from Palo Alto. What's happening? Bad ideas recycled and fed to the young like pablum. Antimatter doesn't exist. So does not matter. Well, I guess if you want to go down that path, that's true. So whatever they're doing, though, they're really doing their best to create the whole antimatter universe. Okay. What else we have here? That's what Ben Baller's evils, like direct current in conflict with nature, or what's good is cyclical. Beverly should have Robert at her church in Harlem. I had a really interesting experience very close to Harlem one time. I'll share this and I got to get out of here. Kelly, who was following my work a long time ago, she now lives in Austin. She's become an astrologer. I love this woman, Kelly. And we were communicating, and she said, you're going to be in New York. She was working at a school, and I think Kelly might have been the librarian or something. And so she was working with a group of girls at this school, and I believe it was a Catholic school, if I'm not mistaken. So she's working with these girls on astrology, and she wanted to know if I wanted to meet these girls above this pizza parlor, and I think it was very, very close to Harlem. And I said, yeah, sure, that's fine. So I took the train. I was in upstate New York. I took the train, and I got there, and I went to this pizza parlor, and there they were. There was Kelly, and there were about 5 of these gals, young gals. And I think that like maybe 4 of them were so-called Black African American. One might have been, Hispanic, maybe Puerto Rican. I'm not sure. And then there was Kelly, and then we talked astrology, and they were all in their, Catholic girl kind of outfits. And we talked astrology for about an hour, had pizza. It was really great. It was a really cool experience. And then Kelly and I got on the subway, and we went down to the Biscotti Park or whatever, where they had Occupy Wall Street. And Occupy Wall Street was very fresh. I think it was about 10 days old. So we went down there and we took that whole scene in and kind of mingled around that area, which was really a trip, right? Total trip. And so that was like, I love New York, by the way. I love New York. Every time I've gone to New York, I've had such amazing experiences, really amazing experience. And that for me was what? That was about a, 6-hour stretch, maybe, getting to go hang out right at the edge of Harlem, hanging out with these young girls, talking astrology, from this Catholic school above a pizza parlor, being an observer of Occupy Wall Street in its inception, and then back on the train and headed up to upstate New York to help my friend. Kind of miss those days. Kind of miss them. Here I am, rooted beneath the tree of life. All right, love you guys. I'm out of here. We'll find out a way to support this Bevelyn Beatty. Well, we'll find out a way to support her. Okay, that's the tip of the spear right there. That is the tip of the spear. Use your head in order to discern what's real. Your heart to stay up when it's possible. I'll be back tomorrow, 8:45 on the dime. Bye for now. Boom. Right there. I hit you with the heart. Right there. Boom. Okay. Support the show. Like it. A lot of people, when they subscribe, by the way, they get unsubscribed. You may want to check that. YouTube has a very interesting kind of algorithm which I guess purges people every now and then for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe it's technical, maybe it's bandwidth, who knows what it is. But if you are a subscriber, you may want to check in, hit subscribe, hit the alert button. That's always a good thing to do, and pass the show along. Pass it on to other people. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take good care.